Hi, everybody. This is Jeffrey. This is Ripe Color, and this is the reading for the collective for the week of June 20th through the 27th. Okay, good. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, press the bell for notifications. If you'd like access to the weekly readings organized by astrological sign, that's available for members. Membership is $2.99 a month. Please become a member. It really helps support the channel. Okay. So I just made an announcement on YouTube that I'm going to do the solstice reading. And please join. So once you see this, the solstice reading will already be up, even though I haven't taped it already. It's very strange, scheduling meetings and scheduling readings. It's like, when is this going to be up? And I might change the outfit. I might not. I'm not really sure. All right. So let's see what's going on. So this includes the solstice. So, even though, so that my little pre-message, because I always get a little pre-message, my pre-message is pay attention to details, because I was putting these things in, right? And I'm trying to fit this into the thing where you put the plug for the, it's like, well, I've been up for a few hours. What's going on? Anyway, so pay attention to details is part of the message, because like the way it comes to me is like it's a feeling, and I see what's going on around me in the moment. Speaking of which, I am turning this phone off because it's like a guarantee. Okay, power off. Beautiful. So I hope everyone's well. I hope everyone's looking forward to the summer. And the solstice is this energy because it's cardinal. It's the beginning of a season. It's the beginning of something new, more so than every other, new moon. It's a full moon. It's Cancer, home, family. All right, let's see what's going on for everybody. And then check out the solstice reading, which will be up previous to your seeing this one. Very exciting. All right. Oh, and, watch all my other videos. Buy something on my website. I don't know what else to say. Okay. Okay, really interesting beginning. All right, so this is where we begin. I don't know if here's where we begin. So we have the tower. So the tower is like something unexpected. I mean, look, we live in a world of unexpected realities, right? So, you've come to understand and expect unexpected realities. Anything can happen anywhere at any time. I mean, that's been going on for years, but the volume's on high. However, you go into a sense of stability, you go into a sense of home, really Cancer. So, what I think this really is, actually? I think it's like this kind of brainstorm or this flash of understanding of what is home, what is community, what is, what makes me feel stable, what makes me feel like I want to celebrate, that I feel safe in. So I think, minds are changing. It's like, well, I used to think that like maybe owning a home was the thing, and now it's like, no, or the opposite. Or, I used to really feel like this was my family, this was my tribe, this was my community. And now it's like something has opened, and I'm realizing maybe I'm not in the place I'm supposed to be. Maybe I'm not feeling as secure or as stable as I'd like to feel. And, and I can change that, because it's like, because like seeds come out of this. There's all these seeds coming out of it. And then we go to stability, 4. And then we go to like, lots of new ideas, lots of fertile ideas, lots of understandings coming through. This could also sometimes be, it's a card of very fast. And it's also a card of, sometimes it could be a card of stress. So sometimes, it's the stress that makes us move, that makes us, really wake up and take action and, have a realization. It's like all of a sudden it's like, well, this is really stressful. So I need to, do something that's going to make me more stable, more confident, more at home in my body, more at home, more at home in my work, more at home in my relationships, etc. Look at this. Wow. Here we go. So she's cried her tears, she's had her experience, and she's ready to move forward, and she's got a real direction, and nothing's going to stop this one. She also, the thing that's really interesting, because I know that there's a lot going on with isn't it Jupiter and Mars in Aries coming up? So, Aries can be very fiery and very impulsive and very it's what I'm trying to get at is you decide to move from one tribe to another, right? One place to another. It's like it doesn't have to be, because she could be very quick with the tongue and very cutting with the tongue. It doesn't have to be that, right? It doesn't have to, because then it's like, sometimes it's like it's time to leave and it's time to move and it's time to go, but it, doesn't have to be, you don't have to slam the door on the way out, right? Or say, the reason I'm leaving is because you're no good, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't have to be that. It really doesn't. So there's a little warning there, right? And that is about taming the beast, right? And using all the courage that you have and using all the stamina and really allowing yourself to be, I don't know, strong in a quiet way. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting like, it doesn't have to be like, let's say you're at a party, right? And you were really insulted at this party. I'm just giving an example, you don't have to like break glasses and, start screaming at the host. I live in a cartoon. Maybe I should be a playwright or something. It's like, you just take your stuff and leave. You just take your stuff and leave. Like, that's it. Just take your stuff and leave. It doesn't have to be, oh, you insulted me and, and get everyone on your side and, all that. Just take your stuff and leave. Okay. To establish something new. To establish something new that feels more like it's going to last. That's guided. Because she's guided. She's guided. Oh, by the way, speaking of the strength card, Tarot Tuesdays is coming up this week. And I had a really wonderful guest. His name is Adam at Stargazing Astrology. And we had a really, really good conversation about the strength card of Leo coming up. Yeah, this one is guided. This one is guided by something more formalized, more inspired, more stable, right? It's 5, it's change toward being abundant, toward relying on oneself, toward self-sufficiency, toward attainment, right? It's a beautiful card. It's a beautiful card. Meeting oneself and meeting like-minded people who are offering the same thing. So I have a new friend here in Mexico that I met at a what they call it, like an intercambio, which is like a meetup, you know. So there's a lot of that here. So, you know, I'm learning Spanish, and, you know, people who are Mexican, or, you know, who they want to learn English. So there's an exchange, right? So we've been hanging around a lot together, and there's a lot I like about him, and there's a lot that is mirrored in me. And it's really nice to meet people who are on the same page, like in terms of the way they think, in terms of the way they act, in terms of the way they take action, etc. And it's really, really nice, you know, and I'm realizing this. It's like I'm really meeting my equal. I'm really meeting somebody who, you know, so he's entrepreneurial as well. So we really support each other, and like, this is what my goals are. This is what I want to accomplish. These are my plans toward, and, you know, and we talk about it, and in Spanish and English, you know, we go see things together and eat and whatever. And it's really nice. It's really nice. It feels really like, you know, it's like I'm the new kid in school in a way, and it's like, and I made a buddy. It's like, it's as simple as that. And it's like, oh yeah, so like, well, we're going to see what we have in common, and we're also going to see what we don't have in common. And maybe there's an interest that you have that you want to include me in. And, you know, I'll be like, okay, you know, unless it's like crazy. And, you know, maybe I invite them to something that's interesting to me. And it's like, well, let's share this experience. You know, it's like that. So I feel like this ending, you know, this is really an interesting card too. This is such an interesting card because there's a karmic element to this card. It's almost like your higher self or the universe did for you what you couldn't do for yourself. You know, it needed to like disintegrate something, for the lack of a better word at the moment. And in order, you know, for you to be in a place of rebuilding, in a place of, you know, now that that's over, I'm realizing that this about it didn't work, and that about it didn't work, and this did work, and that didn't work, right? So there's, it's never, you know, black and white, really. I mean, look how colorful the card is. And, you know, it's toward more stability. It's toward, you know, new ideas. It's toward accessing your strengths, right? And, you know, this is interesting too. This is really like taking your own thoughts. This is not, so sometimes this is about, you know, you're in a family or a corporation, and they have a certain philosophy or a certain way of doing things, or a certain habitual pattern, or whatever it is. And it never really sat well with you. It was like wearing somebody else's clothes. It's like, this doesn't really fit. So, you know, the opportunity now is to take what does work and what does fit and move forward with that. And then the stuff that doesn't, that, you know, was destroyed, so to speak, it's like, well, I can leave that behind. I can leave that behind. All right. Excuse me. You know, the pollution here is quite something. 5, change towards self-sufficiency, toward being satisfied with one's own lot. You know, there's an energy here of, she's in her garden and she's living her abundant, gratitude-filled life. She doesn't need anybody. She doesn't need anybody. Interesting, you know, not needing anybody, and then being strong, right, in one's own interior world, exterior world, attracts the mirror, and the mirror is oneself, and the mirror is also the people that come up to say, I want to be your friend. Or the mirror could also be the people that come up that are like, you're a thorn in my side. So really interesting. Yeah, stay out of this. I think there's going to be a lot of this. I think there's going to be a lot of this, a lot of this chaos, a lot of like, well, I think this and I think that. It's like, I'm in my walled garden. I can't hear you. La, 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 la. Right. I think it's really an interior thing because, Cancer has this energy. Cancer is a really interesting sign. I really want to avoid conflict. And honestly, a lot of times, like if I do a Cancer reading, I'm like, you know what? I know you like to really avoid conflict, but you can't help it this time. But sometimes it's like, sometimes the best move, you ever watch those like karate experts or whatever you want to call it? And, somebody throws a punch and all they do is that. It's brilliant. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to hold you punch and I'm going to punch you back. It's like, just dodge the bullet. It's like, oh. If I have another card like that, I'll do it on the other side. Don't worry. But 5 is change. There's a whole change. Yeah. And something new is going to come out of it. And this is also victory after tears. So something new, something fresh. And this is a really, so this card has been talking a lot to me lately. I know you hear the ambulances. There's this interesting energy of the Ace of Swords for me. The aces are all about beginnings. It's a 1. It's about leadership also. It's also about being solo. But the Ace of Swords in particular, because swords have such an interesting energy, because it's an idea, it's a thought, it's a message, but it also has this energy of being able to slice, of being able to cut. And I always feel like, not always, but lately I've been understanding the Ace of Swords as not only is it a fresh new idea and like the light reflects off the metal of the sword and it's like this, right? It's almost like a magic show, right? So the puff of smoke comes up and then all of a sudden the assistant is gone, like, oh, right? And the tiger appears. There's that energy of that in the Ace of Swords. It's like, not only is this fresh, new, bright idea coming to you, but all the stuff that was sort of floating around or, on stage is like gone. It's just gone. It's like, it's almost like stepping into a new body, stepping into a new life, stepping into a new reality. And the past is like foggy and it almost can't be accessed. It's like, yeah, yeah. I guess that happened. I don't know. A little bit like that. Time is now. Like the time is now. So, what does that mean? That means, something has ended. You really want to be secure. You're moving forward into something in the future. I should do it with the cards being shown. You're going to access your courage, access your strength, access your leadership, right? Attract the right people, build something new, and you're going to be able to, act on your passions, right? Act and pounce. There's a pounce energy here on your passions. And we have 2 queens, really interesting. This is what I think, how I talked about how the thing is going to disappear with the Ace of Swords. This is what I think is going to disappear. This is what we have the opportunity to allow to disappear and the opportunity to take all our strength and because this is self-imposed mental bondage. That's basically what this is. So it's like, oh, I can't do that. Like that energy, I think, is going to be sliced through. I think maybe that what I'm feeling is that this is, I'll give you an example. I love examples. So I really want to grow my YouTube station, right? And I got this add-on called TubeBuddy. And I have this guy who has been doing some stuff on the back end, and he starts to show me all this TubeBuddy stuff. And there are so many levels to it. And it's like, oh, you just do this like that. And it's like, dude, I need like instructions, like slower instructions. And he agreed to, like, be my tutor in that. And I have a Spanish tutor, and I have a lot of tutors now. And there's an energy that I have personally of things generally come really easily to me, honestly, like painting and dyeing and cooking and talking, that's for sure, has always come really, really easily to me. And then when I'm challenged with something, when something is sort of like, I don't really quite understand that, and that means that I have to learn something and stretch myself and possibly make mistakes and possibly, like not really under, it just becomes very overwhelming, and I just like don't want to deal with it at all. And a lot of times, like with certain back end things, I hire somebody because it's like, I don't know. Because to me, like learning computer language is like learning Mandarin. It's not, it's like, I don't understand the shapes of the letters. I don't understand the sounds. I don't understand the grammatical structure. It's like, oh. And so a lot of times I tell myself, it's like, you can't learn that, don't even bother. And I think I need to stretch myself and say, you know what, even if I end up not wanting to do it, if I understand it, then maybe I can give better instructions to somebody who I might hire to do it. I mean, I'm not in a position financially to just hire somebody to do everything. I wish I were, but I'm not. Um, and maybe, in a weird way, it's a blessing, because it's like I'm going to have to stretch myself and say, okay, I'm going to understand this more and more. And of course, like everything else, the more you practice, the better you get at it. So I think like this that's what's going on. There's this self-imposed, it's like, oh, I can't do that. I've never done that. And, everybody else is good at it. And, I don't really have the skill. It's like, if it came up, then maybe you do. And if it came up, maybe, you're going to have to access that part of yourself that, um, because this is the part of the leader, right? And the interesting thing is, like, the leader has to lead no matter what, even if it's like really inconvenient, even if it's really seems like impossible, even if it's like you can't abandon yourself. I mean, you can, but where's that going to lead? Do you want to be stable? Right? And interesting as well, I have two queens, and queens are about patience. And I have to tell you, for me, patience is one of the great and the most skin crawly, nails on the blackboard lesson for me. I can be super duper impatient, not with people, but with like technology, with like things that don't work. It's like, oh, I just want to blow it up. Inviting in community. So asking for help, asking for help. If there's something that you need to, like a skill you need to develop, or a new establishment that you want to establish, or a certain security or safety, it's like, it's like, I need your help. Can you help me? It could be a friend, it could be somebody on YouTube, it could be somebody you hire, it could also be spirit. It's like, please help me. So, even this morning, I was talking to God and saying, help me to focus, help me to, be patient with myself, help me to, break everything up. And because if I try to do it all at once, it's like, forget it. Yeah. Yeah. And there's a loving energy coming through. And it's almost like if you ask for help and you become part of the community and you are attracting the right people, toward, living a life that's really full, and you're accessing your courage, and you're, using your ideas, not somebody else's, not taking on anyone else's um, stuff. It's like the spirit's going to come through. Spirit's going to come through and like bless you. It's as simple as that. This is like a card of protection. This is like the angels and the guides just coming around and loving you and comforting you and protecting you. And at the end of the day, that's what home is. That's what home is, right? Having the right people, not being in a place where you're this, being able to like put up a boundary, establish something new, use the fertile messages that are out there, and know when to pounce. This whole thing is a process, though. I'm not getting like, you got to move right now. I'm getting like it, let's say something. So, okay, I'm going to relate it back to me because it's just what I do. Yeah, I want to live in Mexico full time, right? But, there's paperwork, there's this, there's that, there's a loophole I might be able to get through, but it's a process. And I'm going to probably have to hire someone or I'm going to have to get some advice. I'm going to have to, right. And then let's say I do say like, I get the temporary, let's say I'm getting it, period. It might not be in my timeline, but it's going to happen. Okay. So then I'll have like a place to live here. And, I lived in my old apartment for 30 years, and it's like, okay, people think you blink your eye, and it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to blink my eye and go online, and I have a couch and a bed and cookware, and then it's like, it's not quite like that. It's not quite like that. It's like, it's all a process, and then you realize it's like, I don't know if I like these curtains. Can I actually use them? I thought that they would really fit in the space, and actually I'm realizing they don't fit in the space. So can I return them? Can I make them another color? Can I have somebody cut them down? Can I dye them? Can I paint them? A little creative. Can I use them in another room? It's a process. It's a process. You don't just blink your eye. Yeah, you're planting seeds. You're planting seeds toward a new future, toward new security, toward using your courage, toward building community, toward meeting yourself, toward allowing new ideas and the loving energy to come through. And what's a more perfect card for the summer? I know I haven't done the summer solstice reading, but I will in about an hour and a half. What's more perfect? And it's, there's also 7, and it's my second 7. Indeed it is. Yes. 7 is about confidence. 7 is about confidence. And, confidence is, first of all, it's confidence in oneself, confidence in one's actions, in one's thoughts, in one's doing, in one's et cetera, et cetera. But what I'm really feeling more than anything, and maybe it's because I've been much more diligent in my spiritual practice, right? I mean, I've always been diligent, but in that, I really have. But I've added more. Like I have 3 little rituals I do every morning, basically. And also because I'm in a foreign place, I'm in myself a lot. I'm really like in my own energy a lot. And we live in very uncertain times. We live in very, very uncertain times in many, many ways. In every way, really. This is the time to call on them. This is the time to call on the angels and the guides and the Godhead and your ancestors. This is the time and say, I need help, I need direction, I need protection, I need clear thought, I need support. I need support because there's so much going on on so many, on every level for all of us. It's personal, it's familial, it's financial, it's job stuff, it's all of it. The political, it's everything everywhere. It's the whole world. I mean, that's what's going on. So it's like you need to have people you can call or angels that you can summon, say, comfort me, give me hope, give me inspiration, give me direction. Third ace. And exactly sort of what I said at this point, this is the luminary, this is like the sun in a way, helping you see clearly, giving you an opportunity to have more financial abundance and security and illumination. And I love this card because, the whole tarot is about the path through life, and the different chapters that we go through. But the thing about this card, man, or woman, or dude, or girl, whatever you prefer to be called, or maybe a combination of the four, the road is clear. The road is clear. The road is clear. And I think, if you summon your courage, being willing to build something new, being willing to work in community, let go of your limiting self-talk, then the road becomes clear. And, I have 3 aces now. The road becomes clear. And the interesting thing is, like, not only is the road clear and golden, but here we are. This is where we're heading, through the Stargate. Like, it's as simple as that. It's like, it's a vortex. It's like, everything is different. Everything is new. Everything is familiar and unfamiliar. It's like, it's okay. So there's a weird example, examples. It's like throwing somebody in the water who doesn't know how to swim, and suddenly they figure it out. They just sort of figure it out. Like, oh, a little bit like that. That's the way it feels. I feel like, and I've been saying this for a while, there's so much energy coming from the Godhead, coming from the solar system, on us and upon us and within us and consecrating us. And it's like everything is all new. I feel like all our cells are being reborn. It's really wild. And, I think this is what I'm getting. And it's really weird. It's really weird. And it could be really painful, and it could be really disconcerting. And, it's like, I don't really understand, now I'm learning language, it's like, it's really weird like that. And I feel like that's where we're heading. So we're going to have to hold hands, we're going to have to hold hands and, check in with others, and I think, it's interesting because, we live in the dual universe. So everything has its, right? So all these platforms, these social media platforms, or educational platforms, or whatever you want to call them, or both, could be used for good or evil, right? So yeah, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and there's a lot of weird stuff out there. But at the same time, it's like I can have a Zoom call with somebody on the other side of the world, and so can you. And it's like, well, we found a common ground, and, we may never meet in person, but okay, right? And that could be the community. Really, really interesting reading. Yeah, there's a blessing. Things falling apart sometimes, structures that fall apart, even though we're used to them. And then we're humans, we don't like change. And, it's like, well, okay, you don't like change, it's fine, but it's going to happen anyway. It's going to happen anyway. So you might as well like embrace it, right? Blessings. Have a lovely week. I know I spoke for a long time. I was just in the mood. I'm in a reading mood today, so I'm just going to do as much reading as I can. Blessings. Have a lovely solstice. I do one-on-one readings. All the information is below. Talk to you soon.